President Trump's approval has crashed. His own voters upset. You see it in polling and in moments like this.
Robert, Cleveland, Ohio, Republican. You're on Open Forum.
Well, I'd like to first say I apologize to all of America and all of Americans. I was a diehard Republican. I cannot believe I drank the Kool-Aid, okay? I am guilty. I drank the Kool-Aid of Donald J. Trump. This man is ruining the Constitution of the United States. If you see all the corruption, the billions of dollars that the Trump family is grabbing, and he says it's never about the money. It's all about the money, the lies, the lies, the lies.
Lies, money, and the corruption reports, all of this may be accruing. The caller's not alone. 55% of Republicans blame Trump for these high prices. The war has really crystallized the issue. Oil is up. Fox News says Trump has now given this political gift to Democrats in a gaffe that has not gone away. This is a president who claims he can say and do almost anything, but admitting on camera he doesn't think about America's finances right now has not aged well at all.
Mr. President, to what extent are Americans' financial situations motivating you to make a deal?
Not even a little bit. The only thing that matters when I'm talking about Iran, they can't have a nuclear weapon. I don't think about American financial situation. I don't think about anybody.
Yeah, that's the problem. Indeed, that is exactly what Democrats want to prove and show going into the midterm, so having Trump admitting it in real time may help them. This kind of moment that crystallizes something tends to pop. It's the kind of out-of-touch moment that nowadays we say it might go viral online. In the old days, we would just say it became something larger than a story or a moment in the news cycle. It can haunt a politician to their political core.
He was skewered for seeming out of touch at a grocer's convention. He marveled at new technology that could read a shredded barcode.
Just like that.
The New York Times said he didn't know how an ordinary checkout counter worked.
I think still the fundamentals of our economy are strong.
Well, you've been attacked, obviously, for saying the fundamentals of this economy are the fundamentals are strong. There's an ad out this morning.
There are 47% of the people who will vote for the president no matter what. All right, there are 47% who are with him, who are dependent upon government, who believe that they're victims.
It's a political earthquake in the presidential race, and the Romney campaign is in full-on damage control.
Admitting that you don't understand what people are going through in the economy, or that you think 47%, over 100 million Americans, are just victims on the dole, or when people were suffering in a crash and McCain said everything's basically fine and strong, these things define them. Republican strategist Karl Rove warns that Republicans will lose seats in the midterms because of that dreaded word in American politics, malaise. It's a reference to Jimmy Carter, who also, like Trump, was very unpopular once people got a load of what his governing looked like against economic problems. That notorious malaise speech is taught in campaigns and political science classes as what not to do. Carter didn't even actually use that word.
The symptoms of this crisis of the American spirit are all around us. For the first time in the history of our country, a majority of our people believe that the next 5 years will be worse than the past 5 years.
Yes. I mean, if you think about this, Michael Kinsley said a gaffe is when a politician accidentally tells the truth. And what happened here was that Donald Trump actually told the truth. He doesn't care about Americans' financial situations. He cares about his own financial situation. You can see how much money he's made in office. He cares about his ballroom. He talks about it incessantly, even in that clip. He talks about his triumphal arch. He posts pictures of himself on Mount Rushmore. He cares about his golden statue down in Mar-a-Lago. Those are all things that Donald Trump cares about. He doesn't care about the American people. And I think that what's important about this is that This is a key strength for Donald Trump and the Republican Party, the economy. Ever since the Great Recession, Republicans have had a superior advantage to Democrats on the economy. Trump has compounded that advantage because people do buy into that whole apprentice persona of him as the great businessman who can make deals, who can get the economy revving. And he did inherit a really good economy from Barack Obama and then incessantly praised himself for stewarding it. That all helped. This particular gap, if you want to call it that, this particular truth that Trump uttered, goes right to his core strength and can turn it into a weakness.
I know in preparing for tonight, you also had mentioned that there were moments when George Bush Sr., where he was trying to show care and it didn't work, and that you saw a little bit of an echo there. Let's look at this and what history can teach us tonight.
Just some kind of a useless exercise, but message, I care, we're trying. We need help. We have had and will continue to have, I think, sound and sensible programs.
Shay?
Yeah, when people heard that, what they heard was message, I don't care. I mean, who actually speaks like that? But to be honest, to be fair to George Bush Sr., that was just a clumsy thing that he said. Same thing with Jimmy Carter's Malay speech. It was very clumsily worded. It was poorly worded in that speech. What happened here was not a matter of clumsiness. What happened here was that Trump just blurted out the actual truth. He doesn't care. And, somebody who doesn't care would do the exact things that Trump has done, which is inflict tariffs on people, inflict this Iran war on people, which nobody asked for. He says it was about national security. Well, it doesn't seem like national security has improved. It's not a mission accomplished in Iran at all, and I don't see how it ever will be at this rate. And he didn't even care enough about what would happen economically to the country.
And it's hurting congressional Republicans because you could tell they know it's bad because they don't say, yes, let me explain. They just say, right. No, it didn't happen. Take a look.
The president thinks about Americans' financial situation.
Every time I talk to him, he's focused on affordability.
I didn't say that.
He's got a lot on his plate, including the war.
When we get the Strait of Hormuz reopened, that will alleviate a lot of pressure with gas prices and other things in the economy.
Jay?
Yeah, I think congressional Republicans are living in a world, or they want to live in a world, where Trump is significantly more popular, where he was just a year ago after inauguration, around 50% approval after winning the election. That is not the world we live in anymore. And I think one of the things that's really interesting about the way Trump has navigated this and Republicans have navigated this is that Trump has created for the last 10 years, a reality distortion field. It comes from Star Trek, the idea you create this illusion. It's something con men are very good at. It's something that Trump was always very good at, creating an illusion of success, creating an illusion where he alone can solve the problems. That field, this reality distortion field, is now failing. And there are a couple of reasons why it's failing. But I think one of the biggest is something you talked about in the last segment, Trump's own physical decline. He simply cannot deliver the message the way he used to. The illusion is simply not matching the reality that people are seeing at the pump.